Hello and welcome to Digital Nibbles. We're on the road today in Beijing, China with Intel's Billy Cox. Hi Billy, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Reuven.
You know, we always find ourselves in the most interesting places in the world. Wherever I travel, I always seem to bump into you. Well, this time we're in China. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing here in the Chinese market for cloud computing.
Yeah, I think we make a pattern of never meeting on either of us home turf. We're always in some place. Here we are standing in Beijing. We've got the Olympic Park behind us. You can see the bird's nest back there. Boy, China is a hotbed of cloud growth. Amazing innovations that are happening here. We're seeing everything from the use of OpenStack in deployments for people who are building private clouds and public clouds. We're seeing the cloud storage applications emerging here. We're seeing amazing ideas of use for things like Hadoop in China. This is a very interesting hotbed, and what I find fascinating is in the US we see the traditional evolution of enterprise computing and the use of clouds, and then the new companies using the public cloud architectures. But here in China, they don't have a lot of the traditional, and so they simply start with the new, and they don't know what all of the hard problems are, so they simply go solve them. So the level of innovation here is absolutely astonishing.
It's certainly a market that seems to be growing very quickly. I saw some really interesting stats in the numbers from the Open Data Center Alliance slideshow that was shown earlier here, saying that cloud investment is growing at something like 21% last year. That's sort of indicative of the market.
And it's also indicative of the ways they're exploring to use it. I mean, as Intel, we see a phenomenal growth in servers, and of course the clients and the consumer devices is here as well. But we see phenomenal growth. And what's fascinating is it's not just the obvious stuff. Okay, they need, Baidu, Tencent, they need servers to run their business, but we're finding them create new forms of innovation, drag new kinds of data out of these things. We're going to see, I believe being demoed in the part of the Day in the Cloud event here is some video transcoding in a Hadoop style structure. Again, reapplication of things we've seen over and over again, but done in an innovative form here.
You know, a lot of our viewers of the show are from North America and Europe. Looking at business opportunities in China, how would you say that the cloud is kind of, or maybe opportunities for cloud computing companies in China, how would you say would be a good way to enter the market?
Well, clearly you're going to need a local presence here. The local use of cloud is certainly being adapted to the Chinese style. And the software tools, the local language, of course, matters a great deal. But what's interesting is that there's no preconceived expectation here of go traditional to cloud. They're simply starting with cloud-style structures. And so the opportunity for U.S. companies, North American companies, European companies, is create a partner here. Get a partner in country that you can work with. You're going to have to look at new business models. You don't get to just simply say, I'm going to take my North America or European business model, I'm going to simply apply it in China. You're going to need to look for new ways. For example, you may find that you need to focus more on the solution aspect with your customer rather than maybe a software or hardware type relationship. And the local partners here can run that aspect for you.
It's interesting to see that there are some key differences here. One of the things that I've noticed is the cloud in China tends to be more of a private-centric model versus a public-centric model. Do you think that a more traditional approach in terms of a private application versus a public utility is one that's going to win here in the short term?
I think we're going to see all of them, but I think what we're also going to see here, I spoke with a company who was they were building up a very large Hadoop infrastructure, and what they realized was their customers couldn't either understand how to program it or didn't really want to go down that path. And so they were looking at building things like going ahead and pre-programming in the social network algorithm into the Hadoop structure so that the user simply imports the data, runs the analytic, and gets the results. So that's a public cloud. It's open for anybody to upload data into, but it's a very targeted application. So I think what we're seeing here in China is not so much the black and white private public of IaaS. We're seeing, yeah, they'll do those, but they're also going to find ways to build very specific targeted solutions that their customers actually want to pay for.
So it's the application of the cloud that's more important than some generic sort of infrastructure that's provided to do anything you want for for no particular reason.
Right.
So values up the chain, up the stack a little bit.
It seems to me, in my read, is that Chinese customers, end customers here, have an expectation of a solution, not just here's a bug in parts, you go figure out what to do with it.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today in Beijing. You can see a little bit of the haze, the Chinese cloud behind you. I appreciate it. Hopefully next time we see each other, we'll be in some other far-flung destination.
Look forward to it, Reuven.
Okay,
Thanks for talking.
Thank you.